Welcome back. Beautifully Belly here with another video. So, I'm going to make this video and it's not going to be for everybody. Some people going to like it and some people not. Either way, I'm going to make the video. So, the video is making it out of low income housing. So, I have been on YouTube, and recently I've noticed that a lot of people have been making videos like living in Section 8 or living in the projects and what does it really look like inside. So I just want to start off by saying that just because you live in low income housing does not make you a bad person. It doesn't mean that you just, the low man on the totem pole. That's not what it means. I'll start off by saying that whatever type of housing you have, just be grateful and thankful for it, because home, as you know, I don't know if everybody knows, but for people here in America, the homeless population is steadily rising because the rent, homeowners insurance, things like that, it's really, making people either have to sell their houses or they have to move, or people are moving and living into their cars. So I just want to start off by saying, if you do have housing, it might not be where you want to be, might not be the safest environment, but you have to make the best of what you have. Okay, so a lot of people don't know this, but I actually lived in low income housing for over 10 years. And what was my steps that I took to make it out of there? Number one, I have my notes. Y'all know I had notes. Number one, I was just being patient and waiting on God. Those are the steps I took. I'm not going to say that the human part of me did not want to leave every year. See, I was doing, this is what I was doing to myself. Oh, by the time my kids are this age, I have to be out of here. Oh, I'm only going to be here for a year. I'm only going to be here for 2 years. When you do that, you putting pressure on yourself. Unnecessary pressure. This is what I would tell you to do. I would tell you to take care of your kids and your family, because you might have a husband or a boyfriend who live with you. I don't know. Take care of your family. Stay to yourself. Help where you can. And set goals. That's what my advice would be. Set small goals. Whether it's like, okay, for me, it was school. So it was like, just focus on school. I got one degree. Okay, move to the next one. Now, I'm not going to say that it wasn't hard, because it was. I was blessed, I would say, because the place that I lived, it was safe. It wasn't in the inner city. I felt that it was safer than where I initially came from. I didn't have to worry about people trying to knock me over my head at the end of the night. I could leave my door unlocked, and not throughout the night. I didn't do that, but you know how people get up and they open their house up in the morning. You can unlock your door, and your door could be unlocked all day until you're ready to lock it, and you don't have to worry about anything. I'm not going to say all situations are like that. I was just in a blessed situation. So, what is it really like? What it's really like is what you make it. So if you say, I live in low income housing, and because of that, I'm not going to buy any furniture, or I'm not going to make my apartment look nice in any shape or form. And again, you can go to the thrift store, or what's that, Habitat for Humanity has something called the Restore. It's like Goodwill in a way, but it's like Goodwill in a way. I would say that. And I understand everybody who moves in, they're not necessarily going to have everything they need, but they have furniture programs and things like that that you can look up and try to get furniture for your house. So yeah, what it's like is what you make it. If you have, you know, a low sense of pride about where you live at, most likely that's going to reflect inside of your home. So be proudful in where you live at. And whatever you do, please don't tear up them people's apartment. Take care of it as if it's any other apartment. It's practice, okay? This is practice until you get into the quote-unquote real world, all right? So make sure that you're taking care of those people's property. Anything breaks, call maintenance. If they're not coming to fix it, find corporate's number and call corporate and report what is going on. Okay? All right. Oh, before you make any changes to the exterior or the interior of the house, check with your property management company. Don't just start digging up their stuff and painting walls and things like that, because the thing about living in low-income housing is a lot of rules. Okay? So make sure that you do that. Stop the negative talk. You got to stop beating yourself up about living in low-income housing in Section 8. You are there for a reason. And the thing that killed me about low-income housing is that people who live there, some of them I'll say, walk around as if they could do better, or, you know, whatever the case may be. It's not good enough for them, or it's just a lot. It's a lot. So stop with the negative talk. Stop thinking that you should be somewhere other than where you are. Accept where you are and do something in order to change that. If you want to not live in low-income housing anymore, take the steps to do it. I'm not saying that, you know, people put themselves in that situation. I'll say systematically it's set up for a lot of minorities to live in low-income housing. That way they can keep certain things and certain people, certain places. So just be mindful, okay? All right. What else? Oh, I was gonna say, people act like they're ashamed of living in low-income housing, right? Like, say, like where I lived at, for example. Some people would be ashamed to be senior and stuff like that. And it's like, do you realize all these other people are here too who qualify for the same services that you qualify for? Y'all are all there together. So there should be no competition. Somebody got a car and you jealous of them, or somebody has this and you're jealous of them. Those are just things, okay? So y'all all there together. It shouldn't be a competition. If you're worried about other people's business, if there's a competition, that means you're worried about the wrong things. Okay. The misconceptions about living in low-income housing. I know where I lived at, a lot of people thought that people just stayed home all day and came outside in their pajamas and had bonnets on all day and things like that. But where I lived at, we had a number of different populations. Like, we had mentally ill people, we had disabled people, we had single mothers. Yeah, it's like a lot of vulnerable populations there. That's how I can explain it. Yeah, so a lot of people think that people are lazy. I was one of those people who worked the majority, I would say the majority of the time that I was in low income housing. And I'm not going to sit up here and act like I never didn't work. But at one time I was a single mom and it was just me and my kids, and I couldn't work and go to school and be home. So it was either working or going to school, you know, or whatever the case may be. But there was a lot of people like myself who went to college, who had jobs, It's, people aren't just sitting at home. There are people who do that, but everybody in low income housing is not just back chilling. I mean, they're grinding and working and really trying to better themselves. That's what's my experience. So I said most people, the vulnerable populations, disabled, destitute, single moms, things like that. I just want to make it clear, there were no like nurses or doctors, living where I lived at. So, when people talk about affordable housing and having access to affordable housing, and I don't want to make it seem like, because my thing is this: if you don't need the services, don't take them, right? Move on and let the people who are in need benefit from them. So, yeah, there weren't people like, it's not easy getting public housing. People make it seem like it's a real sweet thing. Like you just wake up one day like, oh, I want to go live in the projects, and you in there the next week. No, baby, there's waiting lists, years of waiting lists. I think I had a 3-bedroom townhouse with 2 full bathrooms, 1 upstairs, 1 downstairs, and I waited a year. And that was back in 2005. So God knows what the waiting list looks like now. But yeah, it's not easy to get public housing. There's definitely a criteria you have to meet. And I would say this: if you live in public housing, affordable housing, whatever you want to say, be thankful, because there are so many people right now who live in regular apartments who do not have a good job, and their rent will not be adjusted based on their income, based on them losing a job. So I know people look like, oh, it's the worst thing ever, but it's really not. It's really, really not. Just be thankful for what you have. I'm not going to say take advantage of it, because you don't want to do that. You just want to be grateful. And when the time comes that you no longer need it, get up and move, period. Because for me, it was like I could have been left, but I kept psyching myself out like, oh, what if I lose my job? Or what if this happens? Or what if that happens? And that's the thing about anything when it comes to government assistance, right? Whether it be welfare, Social Security, I look at it as a trap. If you allow them to trap you, then you're going to be stuck. You have to keep those wheels moving in motion in order to get to where it is that you want to be. So don't, if you are one of those people who, you've been working on your job consistently, your needs are met, look around your house. You'll be able to tell what kind of situation that you're in. If you're buying stuff, a lot of extra stuff, you have the money. You're just spending it on the wrong thing. So look at your surroundings and be mindful, and don't be scared to move forward when that time comes. So there were no nurses where I lived at, but there was a lot of CNAs. There was actually somebody who worked at the post office who lived where I lived. So we had a number of people, different types of people. Take care of your property, all that stuff. So, what else? Oh, the other thing I would say about living anywhere in anybody's house that don't belong to you, or in your own house, make sure to get renter's insurance. It don't cost that much. I think for like $100,000 policy, it's like $20-something a month to have your belongings covered in the dwelling that you live in. Because this is what happens. If you live in low income housing and that property catches on fire and you don't have insurance, I don't think that they're going to let you back in. You have to have, they want to be reimbursed, basically. So keep that in mind. Please make sure to get renter's insurance. It's very, very important. When I was living there, I think I had 3 occasions with flooding. Yeah, so the renter's insurance covered my furniture, all that stuff, and whatever. And then it is a requirement that you have renter's insurance. So make sure to have that. I talked about the competition thing. And then I would say, make sure you take care of the outside of your house as well, not just the inside. If you can't garden, don't worry about that. But if you can, you can plant some flowers or buy some plants, make it look really nice out there, put some lighting out there from the dollar store. There are ways to do it. And if y'all don't know how, y'all can ask me and I will let y'all know. Because for the people who know me, they will tell you, I always took pride in where I lived at. I didn't care about it being in low income housing. I didn't care because my situation that I was in previously, before then, if I would have stayed there, I would have just been in a really bad situation, me and my kids. So I'm grateful for living in public housing for the time that I did live there. I was able to create a strong foundation for my kids. I was able to create stability. They didn't have to worry about being evicted and losing, because when people get evicted, stuff get thrown in the trash, kids lose stuff, and it's heartbreaking. So I was thankful that I was able to create the type of environment that I wanted my kids to grow up in while living in public housing. So I'm just saying. And then lastly, I would say, make sure that you're paying your rent on time, your utilities on time. If you have any problems, go to the office and let them know. Talk to the social worker, and they can kind of guide you. But yeah, make sure that you're paying your bills on time. And if your complex or whatever, if your complex has, you can pay your rent and they can report it to your credit bureau, do that because that'll build your credit. So make sure that, and if they have scholarships too, because where I lived at, they had scholarships for the residents. I used the scholarships when I was in college, and then my first son was able to use the scholarships for his first year of college. So yeah, my rules are stay to yourself, help where you can. That means volunteer, give back to your community in any way that you can, whether it's like helping with school, the summer lunch program, or after school programs, or if they have some type of activities. Make sure that you show up and you volunteer. Pay your bills on time. Take care of your family. And be grateful for where you are and what you have. It might not be much. It might not be what your idea is. But just know that this is just a stepping stone in your life. So use it as that. And yeah, that is my take on surviving low-income housing and how to get out. So, all right, guys. That's all I have for y'all today. If nobody told you that you're enough today, you are with no strings attached. And if nobody told you that they love you today, I love you. So until next time, guys, peace, love, and blessings. Until the next one.